I've been doing comedy for 23 years, and I think the craziest thing that ever happened to me was getting the opportunity to go to Afghanistan, Kuwait, Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia. It was Kyrgyzstan. It was just crazy to know that just some kid from South Central LA now was gonna travel the Middle East and perform for the troops. And this was just in the beginning of my career. It was literally like maybe 5 years, 6 years into me doing stand up. I never imagined that this was gonna happen, but I get the call. And when I got the call, it wasn't like before, it was just, hey, are you open to do this? I didn't even know this booker. By the way, the reason I'm bringing up the story is he called me right now. He called me, he says, hey, Richard, can you do this gig? And I said, I can. I just can't anymore, because he really is one of those guys that'll really like rip you off. But I love the guy because he's at least honest with you. He'll tell you, hey, this is how much I'm gonna pay you, and that's it. Like, take it or leave it. And when you're starting off, you just take it because hey, this is a gig. So it was when the war was going on in Afghanistan, and they were looking for people to go to Iraq, also in Afghanistan, and they wanted entertain the troops out there. So a lot of people bailed out on it, and I just saw it as an opportunity to do stand up for the military, and I was so excited. I mean, I was really looking forward to this trip. And he says, "Do you have a passport?" That's how ignorant I was and young I was. And I was like, for what? Like, can I just use my ID? No, you're going to fly international. You're going to go somewhere else. You're going to travel the world. So I was like stoked. I was like, oh man, yeah, but I don't have a passport. He says, can you get one? And that's when I freaked out. I was like, I don't even know how long it takes to get a passport. And I'm looking it up, and I was like, oh my God, we leave in 2 weeks. I got to send them a passport. So I go to Westwood. I stand in line. I have an email that says, if you're down to go, I'll send you an email letting them know you're going to be doing a military tour. See if that'll help you get your passport. So I do that, and I try it, and I get to the passport office. They see the email, they see it's real, and I'm like looking at the lady, and she's like, all right, you just pay the whatever the cost is right now. All right, cool. We did it. I got my passport that day. I was so excited. I was like, wow, now I didn't want my mom to worry because she was gonna not sleep. I already knew that if I tell my mom, hey mom, I'm gonna go to Afghanistan and Iraq, she is not gonna let me go. She's not gonna get any sleep, and I don't know how I'm gonna communicate with her out there. And the worst thing I want to do is tell my mom, hey, I'm gonna go to this war zone to do comedy, and then she doesn't sleep for the next month, because this was a whole month trip. Like, we were leaving for all of November. We were spending Thanksgiving with the troops in Saudi Arabia. So this was a huge trip for me. This was one of the biggest things I've done in comedy, and I was looking forward to this thing. But at the same time, it dawned on me, if I have to lie to my mom about this, then should I be really going? You know, was that really a blessing that I got my passport that same day? Is it supposed to be meant to be, and why? And I started questioning a lot of things, and maybe I was just getting myself into my head, but I said, forget it, let's do it. So this booker, by the way, the booker is the guy that called me earlier, but he had set it up, but he's not going. So he just books it. So he books it with a bunch of other comedians. So it's four of us, and he put two black guys, two comedians, and two black comedians, and one white comedian, and then the Mexican comedian. That's how he phrased it. He says, I got a mixture there for everybody, so everybody can enjoy different types of comedy. So you were the United Nations of comedy, supposedly. It was called Combat. It was called Combat Comedy. We did it. I'm not gonna say the other comedians' names just because there's a lot of things that I'll reveal, and if they want to reveal them, they'll reveal them. But I'm not gonna be the one throwing them under the bus. You know what I mean, these are my stories, but a lot of crazy things happened. Okay, so we get to Kyrgyzstan. That was our first stop. Once we get to Kyrgyzstan, we realize that we're there. And we're having a good time. They said, no, you're performing tonight. And it is freezing, guys. I mean, November in Kyrgyzstan, it is freezing. So we're all jacked up, put on the jackets and sweaters, and we had like sweats underneath our jeans just because it was so cold. But then we performed in this big like egg-shaped thing, and everybody was having such a great time. And this is, I guess, a place where they come in and transition when they're going to go into Afghanistan, and they get prepped there, they get trained there. People come and get supplies. It's a supply base. So transitioning soldiers, stuff like that. If you need to keep them somewhere, this is a safe haven, all that stuff. So it's a camp, it's a functional camp, and they have a company commander. And it was great, and it was just performing for the troops. When you go there, you got to understand, yes, your loved ones are overseas and they're serving this country, but they're really in a prison, especially if it was a war zone, especially if they were asked to stay on base. Literally, you are on a camp. You don't leave, and it really gets like crazy after a while. We were lucky. After the second day, we could feel the itch of being trapped in a camp and not having the freedom to just run away or flee. You were free, but you just couldn't leave these areas, and there was guards and checkpoints. So just to be there for a year, you would go a little nutty. So for them to have comedy come in and perform, and they see people from the outside like telling them, hey, Batman 3 is coming out, like, you know what I mean, bringing them home news and stuff like that really hit home for a lot of them. And I knew I was going to do this. I knew I was going to go on this trip, and I wanted to do something special for the Latinos that were serving overseas. And I knew that they didn't get Tapatio in the Army, in the Air Force, in the military. They didn't have a contract with the Tapatio company. So, and back then, I don't know if they have a contract now, but I actually went and took little packets. And I wish some of the soldiers that saw my show, if you have that little packet, I would sign those for the guys, for all the servicemen and women. I would sign those for them at the end of the show. Like, I didn't bring you guys anything, but I brought you Tapatio packets if anybody wants one. And I would sign the Tapatio packets. Funny story is, when you go there, I really thought when I went to this overseas trip to the Middle East to perform for the troops, I really thought I was going to focus on getting in shape, maybe working out with the guys. This is when I was young. I was like, dude, I can really tone down, and maybe I'll come back ripped and just eat healthy. And that's never going to happen. In the military, they have great food. I don't know if you guys hate it, but I loved it. When I was there, it was just like a golden corral. You can have whatever you want at whatever time. So you can have pancakes at 4 in the morning. The chow was always open. You can just walk in, grab whatever you want and eat, and that's it. So I left a huge pack of Tapatio packets, salsa, the Tapatio salsa, and I just left it there. And I remember watching one of the servicemen go up and noticing that there was Tapatio packets and getting so excited, he looks to the sides like, is anybody watching? And he took them all. And I told him, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I have more, but here, you don't have to take them all. Just leave those there for the rest of the guys. And I gave him a bunch more, and I really wanted to get rid of them because I had bought the big box, so I thought I'll just bring the whole box and just get rid of it. But it was harder than that, you know what I mean? You're giving them individually, but I had so many packs, so I was just giving them as much as they wanted. So he freaked out. He's like, bro, we don't have this here. That's why, man, I'm sorry. Like, no, take it. So that first night was a success. Now, afterwards, there's not really a lot to do. Like I said, it's a camp. We're just stuck in a camp. So we get to just interact with the boys, and we hang out, and we're talking to everybody, and we start shooting pool, and you get 2 tickets. That's it. When it's a dry country or when it's the rules, depending on the company commander, 2 tickets, that's all you get. For R&R, your two beers, that's it. That's what I meant by 2 tickets, 2 beers. That is it. But of course, it's somebody's birthday, so you sacrifice one of your tickets for your boy. And that's when people start getting in trouble, because when it's your birthday, everybody gives you another ticket as a birthday gift. Some people don't drink, so they'll give you both. By the end of the night, you're done. You're done. So there was a couple of people that are having birthdays. There was a couple of people that were owed tickets. You know, there's always ways to getting more tickets, and a lot of them didn't drink either. So there was ways to keep drinking. So in Kyrgyzstan, we'd start playing pool. Me and the white comic go and hang out with the guys, and then the 2 other black comics leave. And then all of a sudden, they call us in. And we're staying in these tents, but with heaters, but these huge military tents. And they bring us into the tents and they go, come on in, guys. Come on in. We're like, okay, what happened? And the two other black comics are sitting there, and it's me and the white comic. And I'm like, all right, what's going on? And the handler, the guy that was taking us around, he says, I know we weren't specific, and maybe we didn't tell you guys, but you're not allowed to sleep with any of the service men or women that you are performing for. One of these guys, and I'm not going to say who, got caught with a female soldier in one of the tents. And she is in trouble because she's signed a contract with the military and there's rules and regulations. But the comedian, he's the entertainer. Now, keep in mind too, when you go overseas to perform for the military, they give you a rank. I was an E4. And why they do that, maybe for special services or transportation or the way they log in, who is getting a ride on a plane, so they have to give you a rank, so it's your name with a rank and your social. But for those days that you are traveling and you are part of this tour, you are an E4. And that they have E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, and then up and up. People that know the military, they know what I'm talking about. So I was an E4. This girl, and so the comic that was with me, he was an E4. This girl was an E2. And so I don't know what, it had nothing to do with it, but they shouldn't have been messing around. She, I think, got punished somehow, and then they sat us down. And they called the guy that booked us, and they were talking to him and says, we're thinking of canceling the tour. He did stand up for it. He says, well, the guys really didn't know, and maybe I didn't make it a point to point it out again. And then he brought up another good point. Two people made a mistake. They didn't know. The other comic also, he says, if you would have said that was off the table, I wouldn't have done it. I didn't know that. And so one of the things that we did know is if they send us home, the rest of the tour, the rest of the people that were waiting for us to come and make them laugh, at least for one day, we're not going to get that anymore. And the next time they come around, it's going to be the following month. So that means they're going to go without entertainment, without nothing to look forward to for 2 months, guys. So it really is not fair. If you've never been trapped in a camp like that, when we went to Afghanistan, Kandahar, when you go to Kandahar, literally it is a military base, like an American military base in Afghanistan. In Kandahar, it's great. It's like a huge city, but at the end of the day, it's still a cage. You're still inside. You see the same thing day in and day out. So for them to now cancel this tour and send us all home for the mistake of two people, it's not fair for all of the other people that don't get a glimpse of home and just a taste of home and just to laugh. So we were on supervision, we were warned, and any other mess ups, we were going home, but the tour was going to continue. I have so many more countries we went to and the adventures we lived through all of these, guys. I hope you enjoyed sharing this. And if you want to know what happened in Afghanistan, what happened in Kandahar, Camp Phoenix, in Kandahar, people that been overseas, have been to Afghanistan, you know what I'm talking about. I went to Camp Phoenix, I went to the cigar lounge, the roll call that happens, the transportation, the jingle trucks. I come back for that. That's going to be my next story. Because this doesn't end. I mean, I could be here all day long. Abu Dhabi, when we go to Saudi Arabia. That's the ending of the tour. That ended with such joy and also a big eye-opening experience. So I hope you enjoyed it, and just subscribe, like, and if you subscribe, now you'll be notified when I bring up those stories. Thanks for watching.